Welcome to Meditation Mount and this group meditation at the time of the Taurus full moon, which we also know as the Festival of Wesak. At the moment, we're about 350 people gathered together in virtual space for this meditation, and I'm sure more will be joining us. So we're a mighty band of souls that are a force for good in the world. So the work of Meditation Mount is group meditation to focus the power of collective thought and imagination in partnership with the loving heart to help birth a new world founded on deeper values and higher principles. And just one point of clarification, people ask often, a full moon meditation, are you meditating on the moon? The moon is not a factor or a focus of our meditation. The time of the full moon simply says that the earth is in direct alignment with the sun and other cosmic bodies. So this means that the moon is actually out of the way, it's behind the earth and just reflects the full light. So at the time of the full moon, there is a clear, unimpeded path of energy and communication between the sphere that we know as Earth and the higher spheres. So it's a very good time to meditate, which is why we're gathered here today. A few words on the Festival of Wesak. The Buddha is known as the Lord of Light, and each year he returns to bless the world, so the story goes. So I invite us to see the Buddha not as a religious personage, but as an exemplar of what is possible through striving. As we know, 2,600 years ago, Siddhartha Gautama, who was a student of the Upanishads and the Vedas, was deeply moved on a quest to search out the cause and meaning of suffering in humanity. And through what I would call an arduous life and selfless striving, he finally attained Buddhic consciousness. And he basically liberated himself from the prison of the material plane. And he liberated himself from the emotional patterns that were imprinted in the human condition. And he liberated himself from the mental plane, mental conditioning. And so he actually broke free. And he entered the Buddhic state of consciousness. And therefore, he was named the Buddha, because it was a Buddhic consciousness. So we know him as the Buddha, as the Lord of Light. And he took bodhisattva vows, as we know, and he said, I will not fully enter nirvana until the last weary pilgrim has found its way home and the last blade of grass has been enlightened. And also the promise was to return to earth every year to bless us at this time of Wesak. So that's the focus for today. So we invited you to have with you a glass or bowl of water, because part of the ceremony that takes place at Wesak is an anchoring and a receiving of Buddha's energy into water. As we know, Dr. Emoto showed us that you can transfer thought energy into water and it changes the molecular structure. So not only does the molecular structure of the water and the glass change, but also through the blessing of the Buddha, our own molecular structure changes. We're blessed. So there is a story behind the Wesak festival that I will read excerpts from before we go into meditation. And as I read it, we're going to be viewing the great holy sacred mountain of Mount Kailash. And this is Mount Kailash at the time of the full moon. So in preparation for our meditation, let me read excerpts from this story, The Legend of Wesak. There is a valley lying at a rather high altitude in the foothills of the Himalayan Tibet ranges. It is surrounded by high mountains on all sides except towards the northeast, where there is a narrow opening in the mountain ranges. The valley is, therefore, bottle-shaped in contour, with the neck of the bottle to the northeast, and it widens very considerably towards the south. Up towards the northern end, close to the neck of the bottle, there is to be found a huge flat rock. There are no trees or shrubs in the valley, which is covered with a kind of coarse grass, but the sides of the mountains are covered with trees. At the time of the full moon in May, pilgrims from all the surrounding districts begin to gather. Holy people and lamas find their way into the valley and fill the southern and middle parts, leaving the northeast end relatively free. There, so the legend runs, gathers a group of those great beings who are the custodians on earth of a divine plan for our planet and for our human family. By what name we call these beings does not greatly matter. The Christian believer may prefer to speak of Christ and his church and regard them as constituting that great cloud of witnesses who guarantee to humanity ultimate salvation. The esotericists of the world may call them the masters of wisdom, the hierarchy, who in their varied grades are ruled and taught by the Christ, master of all the masters and teacher alike of angels and of men. Or we can call them the rishis of the Hindu scriptures, or the society of illumined minds, as in the Tibetan teaching. They are the great intuitives and great companions, and they represent an aggregate of perfected humanity. So they, with their wisdom, love, and knowledge, stand as a protective wall around us, seeking to lead us on step by step as they themselves were led, from darkness to light, from the unreal to the real, and from death to immortality, and from chaos to beauty. So all these beings are gathered by the rock, upon which rests a great crystal bowl full of water. At the hour of the full moon, at the approach, a stillness settles down upon the crowd, and all look towards the northeast. Certain ritualistic movements take place. Certain chanted words and mantras are sounded. The expectancy in the waiting, onlooking crowd becomes very great, and the tension is real and increasing. Through the entire body of people, there seems to be felt a stimulation or potent vibration, which has the effect of awakening the souls of those present, fusing and blending the group into one united whole, and lifting all into a great act of spiritual demand, readiness, and expectancy. It is the climax of the world's aspiration focused in this waiting group. The chanting and the rhythmic weaving grow stronger, and all the participants in the watching crowd raise their eyes towards the sky in the direction of the narrow part of the valley. Just a few minutes before the exact time of the full moon, in the far distance, a tiny speck can be seen in the sky. It comes nearer and nearer and grows in clarity and definiteness of outline, until the form of the Buddha can be seen, cross-legged, clad in his saffron-colored robe, bathed in light and color, and with his hand extended in blessing. When he arrives at a point exactly over the great rock, hovering there in the air, a mantra used only once a year at this festival is intoned by the presence of Christ, and the entire group of people in the valley are silent. Thus, so the legend runs, the Buddha returns once a year to bless the world, transmitting through the presence of Christ renewed spiritual life. Slowly then, the Buddha recedes into the distance until again only a faint speck can be seen in the sky, and this eventually disappears. The whole ceremonial blessing from the time of the first appearance in the distance until the moment the Buddha fades out of view takes just 8 minutes. This is the Buddha's annual sacrifice, his annual return. After the Buddha has disappeared, the crowd rises, and one by one come up to the great rock, and their cups are filled with a ladle from the great crystal bowl sitting on top of the flat rock. So this is a water ceremony for the Aquarian age, because the sign of Aquarius is a person bearing a pitcher of water. So in this ceremony of Wesak, there is perpetuated for us the story of the universality of divine love, the need for individual purification, and the opportunity to share with each other that which belongs to all. The water, which has been magnetized by the presence of the Buddha and of the Christ, carries certain properties and virtues of a healing and helpful nature. Thus blessed, the crowd silently disperses, returning with renewed strength to undertake another year of world service. And so runs this ancient legend. So let us take some moments of silence to gaze upon Mount Kailash, which is in the vicinity of the Wesak Valley, which is a magnetic mountain where divine will is anchored. Because the Buddha is a carrier of divine will, representing an energy coming from a place that we know as the center where the will of God is known, or the center of true peace, or Shambhala. So let's imbibe the power of the mountain to prepare for our meditation. So carrying the energy of the mountain and the energy generated by the legend of Wesak, Diana will now lead us in our meditation.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Meditation Mount. Hi. So good to be with all of you on this most important full moon of the year. It is the full moon solar Taurus and the full moon of Scorpio. There's a story that says, when the Buddha was asked who he was, "Who are you?" he was asked. And he said, "I am aware." This whole full moon is about vision, about right seeing, clear seeing, right perception. The key phrase for Taurus is, "I see." And when the eye is open, all is light. I thought that was a good place to start. tonight for this full moon. The full moon is exact tonight at 3:45 a.m. or tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, 3:45 a.m., which is later. And you can meditate again and touch into this energy even if you want to. But this is a time of clearing the third eye, in the ajna center, and to refresh it with the second of the three festivals. So last month, the last full moon, we were in the moon of Aries, Libra, and that is the first wave that comes in. And it is impressionistic, not so literal. And in that impression, we are in a collection, like we are the container, and we receive this light without words necessarily, so that it just makes that impression on the self. In the second full moon, Taurus, Scorpio, Taurus solar, moon in Scorpio, it becomes concretized. It becomes anchored. It becomes that triangle, right, the pyramid, of this anchored light on the planet. And it gets to start to come into form as ideas, as thoughts, as creations, as realizations. And this is a time for realization. And the phrase that came to my mind earlier today was, no mud, no lotus. We are very much a little bit in the mud, it feels. But look at all these conscious souls around the planet that are meditating together today, all at once. There are hundreds in our meditation. There are 1 million meditating around the globe, all with this same intention for the highest good for all. And the Buddhic blessing is compassion, right? Is serenity, is peace, is healing. And so when we move into this meditation, we can start to cultivate that in our body, being, in our self, as we become that, like to like, light to light. We become the same. And so it's a powerful, transformative potential of a healing, of a course correction, of a realignment to the divine plan. That we are the instruments, right, on this planet to be the speakers, the creators, the makers, the doers of the divine plan on earth, as it is in heaven, right? As above, so below. And so we make this exchange, right, on the full moon. We make this exchange as we touch these points of light. So in a moment, we're going to go into the meditation, and we've lit a candle here, and you can light a candle in your space with your water nearby. And if you don't have a physical candle, just light one in your mind. Use this meditation today also as a clarifier for your own chakric system, for your own energies, to bring you into attunement to these times and the need that is now. So when you're ready to, let's begin. Just close your eyes. And after I set it up a little bit, we're going to have about 10 minutes of silence within the meditation. And I'll give us a seed thought to work with during it. So we're going to first just line up through the chakras to the heart center. Because all of this, knowledge, wisdom, let's call it, needs to be heart known, heart realized. And so let your heart be awake, right? Like the Buddha says, I am awake. So your heart is awake And feel the connection with all hearts and all lights and all beings. Feel the connection within yourself from your heart to all hearts. As you gently breathe in and out through the heart center, establishing your placement as conscious soul. I am the soul incarnate. We are the soul. Group soul. The world servers. Gently breathing through the heart center. Feel the heart blossom like that beautiful lotus that must grow from the mud. That beautiful lotus within the heart. And all the petals unfolding and opening and being revealed. Petal by petal by petal. By perfect timing, by perfect timing, by perfect timing. And can we trust this divine plan that we are connected to, that we are all connected to? Establish in the heart, run a line of light now up into the head center to make your alignment as conscious soul. And just spontaneously, because it happens so quickly, and especially these days, as the energy is speeding up and up and up, faster and faster. Feel that line of light move right through the crown chakra to the heart of the soul. The heart of the soul. From the heart of your heart to the heart of your awareness, to the heart of the soul. And feel that connection now as it rises even higher now at the speed of light through all the masters and teachers, the Christ, the Buddha, Sanat Kumara. That triangle, that living consciousness, that triangle of intelligence, of divine intelligence. And you feel your connection to it, abstractly or particularly. However you notice it, knowing that this alignment continues all the way to Sirius, to the heart of Sirius, to the heart of you. And in this space you find your place. And you feel the light of this full moon and the intelligence, the awareness, the consciousness that comes with it to impress into our receptive vehicle, our body, to work with this inside this meditation. Our seed thought for the silence is, I stand in the serenity of Buddhic light. I stand in the serenity of the Buddhic light, and I see. I stand receptive to this light. The light that I am recognizes this light. We receive this light. We are connected to this light. And we allow this light to permeate all the fields of the self. All the bodies, letting it gently make its impression in the water of our body and in the water in our cup. We are water mostly. Allowing these impressions and retunings and realignment, subtle, through and through the self and the bodies of the self. Feeling yourself into now with this divine plan. And letting it become more conscious as the minutes, hours, days, weeks continue, as it formalizes and creates into our world. Make me an instrument, right, of thy peace. We're going to finish this meditation today with the great invocation, followed by 3 ohms in your own space, connecting to all of our energies with the ohms and sealing this meditation as a fact, as a thing, as a materialized impression, a materialized spiritual impression. So for the great invocation, if you know it, you can speak it with me or you can just listen gently. This is a alchemic formula that is written some time ago, and it has a rhythm, and it's like a master padlock, and you go 17 to the right, 32 to the left. It makes a particular alignment. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you, everyone. And now, Michael will lead us in the water ceremony blessing.
So we're entering a time of blessing. And we bless through telepathic radiation. We send out energies from the heart of our group to the world. So what you see is the Garden of Peace at Meditation Mount, a boulder with the principle of unanimity engraved on it, and on top, a crystal bowl of water. This in some way replicates the Wesak Valley experience, because we're overlooking here the Ojai Valley from Meditation Mount. So let us begin. If you would like to get your glass or bowl and take a sip of the water that's been magnetized and blessed during our meditation, take a sip of it now. And as you do so, feel the blessings of the Buddha permeate the whole of your being. From the subtle realms of your inner nature to your mind, your feelings. Feel these blessings permeate and enter into the blood and bones of your earthly existence. And we can use this water in the coming days, maybe a sip for ourselves each day, offer to others, give to our plants, leave some for animals and birds. This water is magnetized and it's our way of blessing. So if you put your bowl or your glass down now and visualize us all gathered in the Garden of Peace at Meditation Mount, standing as one group heart, a crystal chalice of consciousness. And we stand together, around 400 of us in this garden. And we will go through the blessing ceremony. So visualizing ourselves as this crystal chalice of consciousness, let us invoke the qualities that we will then be sending out to the world. Into the chalice of our group heart, we invoke the quality of compassion. Feel it registering. And then let's breathe it out. Compassion to all beings, north, south, east, west, above, below. Compassion to all beings. And now into the chalice of our group heart, we invoke the spirit of liberation. And we feel it registering in our group being. And we breathe it out in blessing to our world. Liberation to all beings, north, south, east, west, above, below. Liberation to all beings. Into the group heart, we now invoke the presence of love. And we feel it land and fill us. And together we breathe it out as a blessing. Love to all beings, north, south, east, west, above, below. Love to all beings. And then into the chalice of the group heart, we invoke the spirit of peace. And it fills our whole being as a group. And together we breathe it out in blessing. Peace to all beings, north, south, east, west, above, below. Peace to all beings. Just visualize these blessings circling the world, touching the hearts and minds of all beings. For whatever we receive, we give. Thank you. So thank you for being part of this group meditation, this blessing of the earth, and also being blessed by the energies of the Buddha. We invite you to remain in this space if you want. We'll leave the space open. We will have an image of Meditation Mount, and we'll be playing music. And we have created an atmosphere, an auric field together, which you're very welcome to remain as long as you wish. And then in 1 month's time, we'll meet again for the Gemini full moon, or the solar festival in Gemini, which is the festival of goodwill. So please take your time just to drink in what we have received and be aware that we are a force of good and a force of blessing on this planet. And from Meditation Mount, thank you.